All right. Hello again. Welcome to preseason week 1. This is Worst in 10. My name is Reid Jolly.
And I'm Keith Shutt.
And if you're watching this, then you are probably following Donald Trump on Twitter and think all Mexicans are drug dealers and rapists. Or is that just the illegal ones? I get confused. What is it he says?
I think he uses both of those anecdotes. So,
well, I think he's hilarious.
Yeah. So what are we going to talk about today, Reid?
Big news, fantasy, especially for those of you that have been keeping up and do watch Hard Knocks. Arian Foster, groin injury.
Yes.
Injured again.
Out for
Who knew?
Out for at least half the season.
Yep.
8 to 10 weeks, they say.
Surgery.
Surgery on your groin. That sucks.
That's bad.
That's a lot of frozen packs of peas.
Yep. Also, Geno Smith got punched out by a teammate.
Yeah, supposedly he owed the other guy $600 from a plane ticket.
Yep.
How does Geno Smith owe anybody $600?
I don't know. Millionaires.
Yeah.
He got dropped like a sack of potatoes, just like Ray Rice's wife. Except that
the whole incident did not happen in an elevator, though, right?
Nope.
It was in a locker room.
Geno Smith had enough class not to spit on the guy.
That's...
So, Hall of Fame game, first preseason game last Sunday. Did you watch it at all?
I watched the last 2 minutes.
I watched it sporadically. It was horrible and boring. I never watch it unless the Bills participate in it. But I only watched it.
How often do the Bills participate in a Hall of Fame bowl game?
Once in the last ever that I can remember. But I did watch that one. It was against the Panthers. And it was horrible to watch unless you're a Bills fan.
So it has been in the modern day of football.
It was.
Okay.
This week we're going to talk about quarterbacks and running backs for your draft. Our top 15 of what we think. We have different opinions. We're going to rank our top 15. Daniel will have a graphic up there of our top 15 each. But we're going to hit on a couple that we think are really interesting, that we really like, and we're going to talk about a little. You want to hit on one of your...
Yeah, I'm just going to go through a few of them that
okay.
I have. I'll bring out Matt Ryan. He's like the only really shining thing on the Falcons team besides Julio Jones and Roddy White. But Julio Jones and Roddy White are never healthy at the same time. They're never on the field, it seems to be, at the same time, at least last season. And Matt Ryan could either suffer greatly if they're not there, or he could actually go back to his old numbers where he passes for almost 4,000 yards and a good amount of touchdowns. But he's one of those. I have him listed 7th on my list. He's a hit or miss guy. He's consistent where you'll get a decent starter, but you might not get that superstar that you're looking for out of him.
Yeah, if I may, I think he's consistently inconsistent. Last year, of course, Julio was injured last year, right? Mm-hmm. Roddy White. I don't know. This year they didn't have much of a running game last year. I don't think they have a clear start this year.
Yeah, they don't have any depth at running back.
I don't know who the fuck their tight end's supposed to be.
One of their tight ends was playing tackle last year on their offensive line.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with him. He's got a shot to be a star, but you just don't know what's going on with that team. I have him ranked 12th, so he's a shot in the dark.
Gotcha.
So you could be a genius, or you could be the laughing stock of your draft. So,
and number 8, I have Russell Wilson, $31 million bonus. Hopefully, the Seahawks see something in him that most players didn't, or most fantasy owners didn't see in him last year. Is inconsistent. There would be games that Jeremy and I had him last year on our team, and he'd score twice as much as the next biggest quarterback scored that week, and then that following week scored like 8 points. So he had his ups and downs. I think they're letting him run a little bit more. I think he'll probably. I think his stats are still kind of on the upswing, and maybe we'll see his best season this year, and maybe not since he got paid. Who knows? Matt Stafford. Wow, this was a tough one for me. I have him listed at 10, but I don't think the Lions are going to be as good as they were last year as they are this year. He got sacked, I think, 45 times last year. It was like his career high. So they shored up their offense.
That sounds like only 10 more than Bortles. We just talked about.
Yeah, Bortles had 55.
Yeah. That makes Bortles sound not as bad.
But the Lions tried to shore up their offensive line. They signed Tomlinson from Duke, who did not allow a single sack his senior year. So
I like that guy.
I think because of this, I think Stafford might have a better season. I don't know if it's going to take back to stats from like 3 years ago, but I'd expect somewhere between 3,500 and 4,000 yards and maybe 30 touchdowns. We'll see. Yeah. And then I wanted to talk. There's one guy I didn't put on the list that I kind of want to talk about. I think Teddy Bridgewater. His last 5 games, or the final 5 games of the season last year, and he didn't really play in all of them. They had Matt Castle playing a lot of games.
Yeah.
He was 70% completion rate on his last.
Bridgewater was.
Yes. So this being his full first NFL season, I think that he could have a breakout season. I think he could be a superstar in the making, but it's kind of a risky pick, but I think you can get him late.
Yeah.
If you want to put him as a number 2 and
maybe great number 2 quarterback,
throw the dice, see what happens. Maybe you can trade your number 1 if Teddy Bridgewater all of a sudden shows that he can.
Or load up on other starters and be a risky guy and take him as your number 1.
Late, yeah.
So that's a guy just outside of your 15,
yes.
Maybe. All right. In my 15, one guy I want to hit on, who I have at number 4, but some people might be taking him later. Ben Roethlisberger, I think, has the potential to be the number 1 quarterback this year. He's got so much talent on that roster this year in wide receivers. I think he could just light it up, and he almost did last year.
He had his best career year last year.
Yeah, I'm
just wondering, was that did he hit the ceiling, or is there more? Is the ceiling a little bit higher than what?
I don't know. I think I
suppose if he still has the same stats as he had last year, he's going to be a great pick.
I just think he's going to be great in fantasy. He'd be an amazing quarterback to have, and people got him so late last year. I just wonder if he goes super early this year, but I think you could probably get him around.
Would you have him on
4?
your list?
I have him at
4.
My 4th best quarterback, but I think you can probably get him around 3 or 4. You think?
Maybe 3rd round.
3rd round?
Yeah.
My 14th and 15th quarterbacks, I have Jay Cutler at 14. Last year was his 2nd best career year in the NFL.
Really?
Yeah.
Didn't he still throw? He threw how many interceptions did he throw? 22?
A lot, but he had 25 touchdowns.
I've noticed every time he plays a full season, he throws more than 15 interceptions.
Yeah.
If he ever plays 16
a lot
games.
of picks, but he had a lot of touchdowns, and he had a lot of people to throw to. Marshall's gone, but he's got that new rookie now.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember his name, but that kid's got a lot of talent. I think he could have a great year. And Carson Palmer, number 15, if he stays healthy, and I think he's only played 16 full games. He's played 1 full season only 6 times in his whole career, I think. So, but with John Brown and Fitzgerald and Floyd around him, I think he was on pace to have an amazing year.
Well, since Carson, his last few years, Carson Palmer's been playing for teams like the Raiders and such, so
with zero
no
talent,
offensive line. I don't know. Maybe they're expected to go 11-5. I think the preseason ranking for the Cardinals was. So maybe he's trying to channel his inner Kurt Warner.
Yeah,
and
I think
throw a lot of yards.
I think he's going to be 36 this year too. So it's a chance. He is a 15. He's on the cusp of my bottom 15, but I think he could be good if he stays healthy.
You want me to start?
Go ahead. You started the first one.
I'm going to start with Eddie Lacy. Originally, I had Eddie Lacy as my number 1 pick. I think I talked about that on the first show. And I was like, Le'Veon Bell's stats might be so good those last freaking 14 games that it's going to surpass a lot of the other running backs. So I have Eddie Lacy ranked as number 2, but I think this is going to be his breakout year. I think the Packers are expected to go 14-2 in their preseason predictions, and that guy's going to get receptions out of the backfield from Aaron Rodgers, and he's going to get the ball a lot of times. He's probably going to get the ball at least 275 times. So when you're looking at that, you're probably looking at 1,800 combined yards and 10 to 12 touchdowns to throw in with that, and I think that's going to be really good for fantasy stats. So I put Matt Forte, since you were talking about Jay Cutler earlier, at number 5 on my list. He had 102 receptions last year, which probably led all running backs in the NFL. The guy's hardly ever injured. I think he's played 6 seasons, and he's been injured maybe 2 or 3 games. Maybe I think he was injured one season, 4 games. So, but he hasn't been injured very often. He's a workhorse. He's probably only going to get you 1,000 yards rushing. His rushes per carry.
He was pretty solid last year. I had him in 2 leagues.
He went from a 4.6 to like 3.9 yards per carry last year. But on the bright side, though, he still is going to get you almost 1,000 yards receiving out of the backfield. So if you want to put all that together, he's got 2,000 total yards and maybe 8 to 10 touchdowns total. So
in a PPR, he'll be a horse.
Oh
for
yeah,
sure,
definitely. I wanted to talk about one running back that I had listed right outside my top 15, and that's Joseph Randle with the Cowboys.
Yeah, I like him.
I think he's going to pretty much take off where DeMarco Murray left off. DeMarco Murray pretty much ran behind a huge offensive line, and that line's going to open up holes for Joseph Randle, and the Cowboys are expected to go 12-4, so expect a lot of running, and Tony Romo just turning around and handing it off to this guy. So Parker would like me to say go Pokes, because he did play at Oklahoma State, and just expect a good season out of him, and you can probably get him later. Being on the cusp of the top 15, maybe 16th or 17th, you probably get him easily 3rd or 4th round.
Yeah. My top 15, we're kind of similar. I'll talk about LeSean McCoy. Even though rumors say he doesn't tip, and I'm in the restaurant industry, as long as he doesn't come to Kansas City, I'm okay. But
you would probably just take an autographed football from him.
Instead of a tip? Bet your ass. I have him at 7 because there's a lot of talent in front of him. And Rex Ryan and the offensive coordinator there like to play a lot of decoy, and they say they're going to run the ball and shove it down everyone's throat. But and LeSean McCoy is kind of more of a shifter instead of a power back, so they could be doing a lot of reverses. And he says he's going to run the ball a lot, but I think there's going to be some mystery with all the talent they have a wide receiver. So I have all the big backs in front of him, and then LeSean McCoy. So, but I think LeSean McCoy is easily going to return to over 1,000 yards and a lot of receiving yards.
We'll see. He was a big disappointment last year.
He was. But I think he's going to be back in more of a Philadelphia type receiving and scat it out of the. He's going to do what Spiller, I think, was supposed to.
Okay.
But never did. Adrian Peterson, I don't know where you have him.
I have him
a lot of people in mock drafts and NFL Network has him going number 1 overall and and the number 1 back. I have him at 6. I just can't put that much faith in someone that sat all year long and is sitting all 4 preseason games.
I think he's pretty rusty.
Oh, you have to be rusty. I mean, my God.
I have a feeling that he's going to play with some anger, though.
I sit on my ass for 1 full day and then go in and bartend and my fucking legs hurt. I mean, he's sitting for a year and then running his ass off. You're going to hurt yourself.
Well, there's going to be some 2-year-olds that are going to be scared in the stands when he's playing.
And I tell you, I don't care where he falls. I can't draft someone that beats children like that, and that's a personal thing for me. Yeah. I don't care if he falls in the 3rd round. I'm not going to draft him. I'll definitely draft his backup, McKinney. I love the kid, and I'm going to draft that kid in the 10th round and in case Peterson gets hurt. Definitely look for that kid. He's an athlete, but Peterson... Not going to do it.
10th round? You should probably save that for 12th round, right before kickers and defenses.
Definitely. Somewhere late. Emails. We have 2 emails this week. You can email us every week. We'll take your questions on our show at your questions at worstin10.com. Our first one is from Larry Hill at Shawnee, Kansas. Is Arian Foster worth drafting in the 1st round still?
Sure. Why would he ask that? That's the stupidest question. Sorry, Larry.
I don't know. I didn't look at the date when it came in.
Sure, his name's not Terry.
Or should I just wait for Alfred Blue later? Or I think you should just avoid the Texans altogether.
I think their preseason predictions on Bleacher Report were 5-11 for the season, and
I think you should go with any other running back altogether. I think the only thing worth drafting on that team is Hopkins, the wide receiver.
Yeah. Or if you had a punter spot in your fantasy football
or a
league,
kicker, maybe. Yeah. Is that a dome? I don't think it is. It's Texas. Yeah. Probably not. The second one is Matt Peters, Kansas City, Missouri. What round should I draft Melvin Gordon in a 12-person league?
Oh, I would. I think he's somebody that he could end up going late in the second round or early in the third round.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Late second, early third. But I would scoop him up, especially
If you're the number 10 pick coming back in that second round, you take him. Don't wait for him to try to come back because he might not make it.
Yeah, I'd grab him. He's gonna be special. All right, I think that's all we got. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next Wednesday.
And try to stay off farmersonly.com.
Yeah.
Try to watch us on YouTube instead.
Yep. Watch us on YouTube. See you next week for Week 2 preseason.
We're out.